If you only list your Airbnb, there will only If you only list your Airbnb, there will only If you only list your Airbnb, there will only If you only list your If you only list your
This is a good time. Remember some little children. I'm ready singing and the dancers really admire them. Smallness is still on their mind. Smallness is a good time. Remember some little children. I'm ready singing and the dancers really admire them. Yes, they're singing. Ching, 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 ching. Say that, mama. See for mama. Get 10 fat chickens. And she won't. And she won't give me one. You see that girl there? Named Dorothy. She fat like a butter. And she back like a chop. Oh, smallness is still on my mind. Smallness is a good time. Never had some little children. I'm gonna sing it and the dancers really admire them. What they're singing? On your carpet, you must be like roses, bright and shining. Show me the one. When I marry you, first year, Sunday, Monday, we will spend our money. Oh, smallness is still on my mind. Smallness is a good time. Never had some little children. I'm gonna sing it and the dancers really admire them. Join the singing. My house on fire, you're my runaway.
Okay, good. Can you see me? I'm on.
The only fire down there. Escalator, shoot, shoot, shoot. Escalator, shoot, shoot, shoot. And I wipes the lady face, the lady wipes the lady face.
Yeah,
And
take
she
your time.
fell down, and she fell down, and she fell in the ocean. Oh, smallness is still on my mind. Smallness is a good time. Never had some little children. I'm gonna sing it and the dancers really admire them. Hear them sing, children, children, yes, where you been? What she give you? Where is mine? I'll be the better. So what's it called? Bad licking. Wicked, wicked. Oh, smallness is still on your mind. Smallness is a good time. Some little children. I'm singing and the dancers really admire them. I'm singing and the dancers really admire them. I'm singing and the dancers really admire them.
What's up, Linnell?
What's up, man? What's happening, man?
I'm good, sir.
Good to see you, man. You
Thank
been
you,
good?
sir.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Folk songs, man, back in the day.
See something here. I'm looking at this here. I'm looking at this here. Living benefits coverage for life. 1 second.
So this is talking about where it has that it's life insurance, but
Yes.
it has a component to it that you can take.
Yeah.
Did you get sick?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Now, do you want me to run?
Stephen. Hi, Steve. Hey, Alvin. once the national anthem starts to play, if you can, would you please stand if you can?
Of Guyana, of rivers and plains, made rich by the sunshine and lush by the rains. Say a gem light and fair between mountains and seas. Your children salute you, dear land of the free land of Guyana. Our heroes of yore, both bondsmen and free, laid their bones on your shore. This soil so they hallowed, and from them are we all sons of one mother, Guyana, the great land of Guyana, diverse though our strains, we're born of their sacrifice, heirs of their pains, and ours is the glory their eyes did not see. One land of 6 peoples, united and free. Land of Guyana, to you will we give our homage, our service each day that we live. God guard you, great mother, and make us to be more worthy our heritage. Land of the free.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this fantastic GUYMETRO event. We are celebrating Guyana, Mashramani, a little bit about Davis Memorial Hospital, and also the special efforts that are being made out of Maryland to remember Guyana and remember all the precious things about our country. This afternoon's program is going to be interactive because we started the day with a feast of Guyanese foods so that members of the community were invited to pass by and pick up their roti, pepper pot, both vegetarian and, as someone said, real pepper pot, to pick up dal puri and pulauri. I don't know if they had sauce, but at least there was some mobi and some sorrel. So today is really a celebration of Guyana, of our heritage, and we're going to make this program interactive by inviting each of you at some point in the program. I don't know if we can get to all of you, but each person, please be ready to give us, to tell the group, to tell everyone on this platform a memory that you cherish about Guyana. So without further delay, I'd like to invite the distinguished member of our group, Dr. Terence Moncow, I like to call him. He's served better than a medical doctor many times. Terence, why don't you invite the Lord's presence to guide us this afternoon? Well, it's a part of my responsibility and the response, Steve Constantine and I, Pastor Steve Constantine and I are your hosts, and it's part of our responsibility to ensure that there isn't a lot of dead time. So if we'll give Terence a few minutes more. So what I'll do is welcome some of the people that I see on the platform right now. And since they're, I'm sure this is just part of our audience, I'm going to take this opportunity to welcome some of you. If I use my screen as it appears to me, I see James Joseph. James, would you want to say hi to the group?
Definitely. Thank you for the welcome. Hello to everyone. Happy Mashramani in advance, because I know it's going to be on Wednesday when we all going to be working. So happy Mash in advance to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I see Lena to my right.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I was invited by my cousin Terrence, and of course, I wasn't born in Guyana, but I lived there for 9 years growing up, and I met Sister Johnson as a teacher back when I was in the academy, and Abigail was way ahead of me by a lot of years. And at the high school side, I was at the elementary side. So my wife's Guyanese. I mean, I keep my father's from Guyana, so I just love, just being a part of this platform and enjoy the time I was living there, and just glad to see you guys. And even on Zoom is better than nothing at all. So thanks for the invite, cuz if you're online, I don't know if he's here or not, but thanks, Terrence, for inviting me.
Thank you, Lena. Teacher Irma.
Yes. Good to see everybody, at least those that I can see. Yeah.
Pleasure to have you.
Good to be here.
I see Nigel, or Neil Liverpool, sorry.
Yeah, pleasant good day to everybody. And happy Republic. Had some Guyanese food. It was delicious, man. You should get stuff. Blessings.
Pleasure. Royce Lynn, mentor. All right, Natalie Liverpool. And then Michelle Velasquez.
Hi, everyone. This is Merle. Glad to be there. Haven't seen quite a lot of you in a long time. I wish I were in Maryland so I can drive wherever it is to get some of that good food. But guess what? I had some last week. I just came back from Guyana last week.
Oh, wow.
Yes, enjoyed all the nice fruits and vegetables. So anything Guyanese. As a matter of fact, this morning I had some cassava bread, toasted cassava bread. Nice to see all of you. Hi, Neil.
Good to see you too.
And we extend our sympathies. I think you lost your maternal aunt.
Yes.
Lucy sent me a note. So the entire community is sharing condolences with you.
Thank you so very much.
Good. And give your husband Errol a hug for us. I hope we'll see him at some point.
All right. Thank you. I'll tell him.
Sure. Michelle?
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be on this platform today, celebrating Mashramani. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm the sister of Yonette Semple Domer, and I'm just happy to be on the line celebrating with everybody.
Awesome. All right, if Roycelyn is still not available, we'll go to Alwyn and then Nancy. I see Nancy L's iPad. So Roycelyn, Alwyn, and then Nancy. Go ahead, Alwyn. Okay, is Lorna able to speak? What about Radon? Radon, you're on the program as the last item, but we want you to say hi, if you choose to. And who's
hello, driving. So sorry about that.
Oh.
Yep.
Hi, Radon.
How's it going? How's it going? Glad to be on, and I got some food. I'm gonna take care of that later on.
What's the word we use about when we're going to eat, about hitting the food? We use a word beginning with L. Don't we say we're gonna lash it?
We're gonna lash it later.
Awesome. But we look forward to hearing from you later in the program. Electra, I see Lorna Grant Charles. Go ahead and say hi while we have the time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Electra from Guyana.
Are you in Guyana at the moment?
No, I'm in the USA.
Awesome. Glad you're here. Is there anyone on the platform who is in Guyana at present? All right, not sure yet. Stacy, do you mind saying hi to us?
Sure. What do you want to do? Right under what you.
Okay, Terrence, we're gonna have you pray in a second. We were just occupying the dead space while you were getting ready. So if no one else wants to say hi, Terrence, please go ahead and do the opening prayer for us.
You're muted, Elder Monko.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Loving and eternal Heavenly Father, we, thy children, are happy to be here and ask that you come divinely close to us and bless this program. Thou knowest the purpose and the mission of GUYMETRO. You have helped GUYMETRO to stay alive for the last 32 years. And Lord, I pray this moment as our leaders, our host, and our Zoomers looked at this program on this platform and through Facebook and through YouTube, may it bring blessing to the heart and a joy to give. I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate all the hard work that you do to make programs like this happen. Yes. And we thank you so much for your excellent efforts and honorable service to GUYMETRO. Indeed, GUYMETRO has been an active organization for, as Terrence said, 30 years, and that's a long, long time. It's especially a long time to think that the leaders were able to keep Guyanese together for that long. Because sometimes when things bother, we just want to abuse people. And when we don't abuse them, sometimes we don't talk to them no more. And we just say it. We say, I ain't talking to she no more. I done. But thank God we've held this group together with distinguished people and leading it. And so God has certainly blessed. the era of female presidents has certainly been a boon to the world. It's interesting when you go certain places to see a female at the head of the table, leading the group. That is even happening in the military. So this GUYMETRO is no exception, and so I'd like to invite our current president, the distinguished, I would even dare say, to confer on her the title of Honorable Yonette Semple Dormer. Madam President, please address us.
Recording in progress.
And if, while Yonette is getting ready, please, those who are performing the liturgical dance, which is next on our program, Emerald, Bob Semple, I think to the melody of Oh Beautiful Guyana. If Emerald is ready, I think it's, yes, Emerald. What we can do, make sure your music is queued up and you're ready. So if Madam President is ready to speak, we are.
Yes, yes. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure, such a pleasure. Good afternoon to our esteemed host, Mr. Abrigo. I am excited that we are here today. I'm admitting somebody right now. Yes, I am so excited. I'm sorry we couldn't be in person, but I'm excited that we are here today, joining in the celebration of our dear country, Guyana. You can't see me, can you?
No.
No, yes. Let me take off that background. None. So I am still holding the fort out here, getting the food items to you so that you can eat and be happy and merry. And we're still not seeing, you're still not seeing me. We're still having some technical difficulties, but you can hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I am just going to continue in the interest of time, to respect your time. I'm going to continue. Pretend you can see my beautiful face right there on the screen. So we have had such a wonderful year, and I just recently texted my team to say that I have the best nonprofit team in the whole universe. We have put together a fabulous program for you today. We have been working on our mission ventures in Guyana, bringing our finances and our expertise to the people in Guyana to address the diabetes and dental needs that they have. And we are planning lots of exciting activities and events for you to be a part of. We are hoping to be in Guyana this summer to continue our work there. So we invite you to partner with us and come so that we can help our people. We are also planning to have a retreat for the members of the metro area. So look out for that information so we can go and have ourselves energized again. You know, COVID has done a lot to us over the years, and we need to be able to come together again. So please plan. Our retreat will be in April, so look forward to that. We are also planning some other events that we're going to share with you later, but I am overwhelmed and overjoyed that you are here with us today. I gave out some packages. If you came and bought food, you collected some packages. We are going to use them later in the program. We welcome you to today's event. We welcome our guests from near and far. We welcome our guests from Guyana. And we know that together we are going to have a fabulous time with our hosts at the helm. It's going to be a blowout. So sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and let's have a good time together.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you so very much. While we're, and you've excited us indeed with your plans. We are certainly gonna engage with you and your staff to stay abreast of what is coming up. And those plans and those ideas are extremely significant. I can't thank you enough for making diabetes health care emphasis important in Guyana. And I know the Lord will bless that program because there's so many people who aren't even aware that they're diabetic. Some of them are not using diet or lifestyle changes or medication. And they don't discover it until they have, you know, some significant laceration or some condition that informs them that they're diabetic. But so thank you for that. That is a life-saving venture, and it is very, very important. I'm anxious to see Emerald Bob Semple do the liturgical dance. After Emerald, whoever is responsible for giving the appeal, I don't know if that is something that you guys want us as hosts to do, but let's enjoy Emerald's performance. Emerald Bob Semple.
I'm afraid Emerald is not quite ready.
All right, if Emerald is not quite ready, is there anyone on the platform right now who is in Guyana? We're trying to recognize and acknowledge our participants from Guyana. What about Canada? Is there anyone here from Canada? Anyone from any part of the Caribbean? All right, so it seems as though we're all in the United States up to this point, and I noticed that the numbers are climbing. We started with 7 people, now we're at 25, and I'm hoping it will get to 125 before too long. And please text Miss Yonette your requests for having her ship food to you. I know I'm going to send her a text for some palauri if I can get it, and mitai if it's available, and dal puri. Talking about diabetes, those of us who are a little older are trying to cut down on our sugar and starch. So, but you know, once in a while on Mashramani Day, we can have a little splurge. All right. We're also going to be treated to a vocal performance. I don't know which one of the performers is first, but while Emerald is still getting ready, we can have one of our vocal performances that has been prepared, or I'm going to ask Hugh to play a Guyanese song. Could be a calypso, folk song, whichever. Are we ready with the wheel? With the wheel of names, the giveaway?
No, we're still completing the wheels of names as people are coming on. So let's keep it rolling.
All right.
Let's keep it rolling.
Is Emerald ready? If Emerald is not ready, I'd like for you to unmute as you speak. Could someone tell us a memory you have of Guyana, of your life in Guyana while you were teenager or adult or young adult? We're inviting anyone, and we're hoping to have 2 or 3 at this time, to share a memory that you or an experience from Guyana. The first Seventh-day Adventist church you attended, when you got baptized, when you got married, when you went to school. Share a memory from Guyana with us. Anyone?
I can share.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
I remember when I was a kid growing up, I went to church in Pleasant. So my church was Pleasant's SDA. And one of the things that the church would do is we would go to the back dam and we would have cookouts out there. That was it's a very wonderful memory of mine. I remember going down to the back dam, cooking, and the food being the best food ever because it was all outside. Everybody brought something, and that pot was the best. So that's one of my memories from Guyana.
Pleasant.
Yes.
All right, and I'm gonna ask our technician if he could highlight the person who's speaking whenever they are. I don't have to be in this prominent spot all the time.
Yeah. But
So
you need to
if-
come with camera.
Yeah. So what we probably need to do is when you start speaking, then the technician can see you and then highlight you. All right. Thank you so much for that. Plaisance Back Dam. I've heard lots of stories about Plaisance Back Dam. I know Back Dam food is good because something about that wood fire and those pots, it makes Back Dam food taste better than food at home. Some people say, but that was a great experience. And strangely enough, did you have lots of mosquitoes in the back dam? I've been to some back dams where the mosquitoes tried to steal our food. They tried to lift the pot off the fire. Did you have mosquitoes in your experience, ma'am?
Oh yeah, for sure. They had a lot of mosquitoes.
Yes. So sometimes we would have to light a flambeau, and there was a special oil. I think it was citronella. So we'd light a flambeau with citronella and just have it close to us, and that would keep the mosquitoes away. But it never stopped us from having fun. We enjoyed ourselves immensely. Let's have another person tell us a little bit about your back dam or your experience in Guyana. Just start speaking and then the technician will be able to identify you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi.
I'm Nancy. And I remember a lot about Guyana because one second. You turned it. Let me take this off. 1 second. Because my Bluetooth just went off.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So we used to have the same kind of bush cook, but we're on a technical level. And I realized that when we were sharing stories on the Guyana website, they talk about, somebody said we were gonna do a bush cook at the start of the pandemic, and they said, what are you bringing? And so, I was like, I'm bringing myself, I'm gonna start the fire, but I'm clearing the bush. And that's because our bush cooks were really, really true. And I'm bringing my cutlass too. It was true bush in the back of the year. We had a whole big span, where they used to have the barracks right there in Old Car in the Karakara scheme at this, what became the multilateral school afterwards, and then later became Mackenzie Primary. So they had barracks. So when I wake up in the morning, I used to hear the chant of the soldiers, from what we over that bush. And literally, we used to have to, we kill snakes to clear the spot. But we had a more technical, very different to other parts in Guyana, because what we used to do is we used to play in the afternoon until sundown. And if you're not present, you do not know about the bush cook plans for the weekend. Okay. And so if for some reason you're taken up with extra schoolwork or whatever, you just do not know, and nobody tells you. If you weren't there when it starts the plan, you're excluded. And this was a test of loyalty to the group. And so comes there, we always set a different time. It's not the same time. It's usually on a Sunday, sometime on Sunday, could be 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock, but you never know the time. All you know, it's never specific. It's never a specific Sunday. It's usually maybe once a month. So if it's a Sunday afternoon, you come out and everybody's gone, you know you were excluded. Okay, you know, and your siblings, you might have 6 siblings, all of them are gone, but you're excluded. Okay, so now I used to like to climb, so I would climb the highest tree. I've been left out sometimes, and I climbed the highest tree or even find a way on the rooftop. I have found myself up there with the binoculars. I saw the smoke, and I had the hell getting down. I was more concerned with getting up than getting. When I couldn't get back down, I was like, oh my goodness, this is how I'm gonna enjoy this bush cook. I can see where the smoke is, I can see where they are in the bush field, but I can't get to it. But I eventually, sometimes you stand on a banister and you're barely, getting over the trees and, and so now you go. When you now arrive, if there's food left and you get some, your job is to clean up because you didn't donate anything. So you have to clean the pot. And you have to make sure the fire's out and this place is safe. Everybody will eat. And it used to be a challenge just to make sure you turn up, just to say, oh yeah, I found you. I know you guys, and so it used to be fun. It was on a technical level, but it was a secret. And then you'll be like mad at your sibling. Why didn't you tell me? Sometimes if your friends leave with your sibling, they'll say, come, you're in but you have to have something to bring. If there's nothing more left to bring, you're excluded, okay? Because you have to bring something. I'm gonna tell you one other thing. 1 minute, I'll tell you. When things get hard in Linden, you know what we used to do? The prior thing used to be like you ask your parent to get this ingredient, but we'll bring 1 spoon of rice from each house. Who's gonna make? And we put it all together, and we still gonna. It might be it might not be. So I'm just saying that's how we used to. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. But the rules still the same. The secrecy and the loyalty. You get told about it. You don't. That makes you show up for your playtime during the week and be on time, present, and all that was about.
Awesome. Nancy, you're awesome. Thank you so much. I can see you enjoyed Guyana, and that's a very precious memory. Let's take one more before we go back to Emerald or the vocal performance that was planned. One more experience in Guyana. And by the way, each of you, let me look at the numbers. All right, we've got 3 more added to our 25. We're moving towards the 50 mark slowly. Each of you on the platform today is going to participate in some way. So right now we're asking for experiences. What's a precious memory you have from living in Guyana? Another request we have is for you to think of a joke. Now, Sister Johnson is here, so you have to, that limits the kind of joke you have to tell. So we would like you to tell a funny story or a joke. We used to call them bridge jokes in Georgetown. The boys on the bridge would tell these stories, or tall tales. So we'd like some of you to tell us a joke, something funny. That would tell us one of those Abib Khan jokes, but it has to be approved by Sister Johnson, our First Lady, or else we're going to, you're not going to get any palauri, or you might get palauri with no sour. So let's think of a joke that you could tell. Also, the third thing I want you to think about is a commercial. Were there any commercials on the radio that you enjoy? And if you want to sing the jingle or however you want to tell it. So we want a joke, a commercial, and your special experience. One more special experience before we move to the next planned item. Someone else, just unmute and start talking. Go ahead, don't be shy.
Well, listen to this. You guys gonna have to help me out if I do this. It's Bougie Gal. How will you cook for dinner? Mutton curry and with champion baking powder. Bougie Gal. Well, something I don't remember the whole thing, but I remember dish them out and put them on the table. The food smell nice, we don't eat more than we able. The mutton curry tastes
The Valkyrie better thanks to Indie Curry and Champion Baking Powder. There you go. There you go. Man,
woo,
that's back in the 70s. Woo.
Yes, yes, that's a memory. That's a memory.
Old one. That's an old one.
Thank you, Yonette. All right, is Emerald ready? Is the special musical item ready?
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Thank you, Hugh. Oh my, that was so beautiful, so extremely. Thank you so much, Emerald. That was really, really awesome. I'd like to insert little bits of history about Guyana. I have a lengthy document, so I'm going to give you some snippets as we go along to tease you. So here's the first installment. The territory known as Latin America includes countries of the Caribbean. So Latin America, by definition of most historians, includes countries of South America and North America. Those are the two continents, including Central America and the islands of the Caribbean Sea that were south of the US. However, the term Latin America, so even though Latin is Italian and belongs to Rome, it is a European country, but Latin America is mainly the countries that spoke Spanish and Portuguese. So there was a linguistic identity to countries of Latin America. And however, the territory, the geographical domain of Latin America included islands of the Caribbean and those that were south of the US. The histories of Latin America include events that predate the birth of Guyana, or histories that record the birth of Guyana and the populations that lived in Guyana. So Latin America, it is said, began to develop and to be populated in the 15th and 16th centuries with the arrival of Christopher Columbus. You remember we used to say in history class that in the little limerick, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So to help us remember 1492, good teachers created that little jingle. But with the arrival of Christopher Columbus and Amerigo Vespucci, the history of Latin America began to be written. Now, that's my first installment, but let me add a slight technical disclaimer. A famous Guyanese wrote his landmark book called They Came Before Columbus. Does anyone know who is the author of They Came Before Columbus? It's Guyanese. It's Ivan van Sertima. Yes. Now, here's a point to note that in most histories, you will read that the history of Latin America began in the 15th and 16th centuries. What van Sertima did as an anthropologist is he showed that human migration included the journey of Africans from West Africa to the Americas, to North and South America. The proof that he presented for that in this academic work, which is now a landmark work, it's a seminal work. The proof, one of the proofs that he presented is that in his day, satellite mapping of the ocean floor was possible. So he could study the satellite images of the oceans and see, which earlier historians didn't have access to that kind of information. So van Sertima studied the ocean currents, and he discovered that at a certain time of the year, the ocean currents from Africa would travel towards the Americas. And then when the moon cycle changed, those very currents would reverse and travel in the opposite direction. So he concluded, based on the fact that in the Americas, there were images carved in the walls of sacred temples. There were images carved in those walls of people with large noses, faces with large noses and thick lips. And none of the natives had large noses and thick lips. So he researched and found that there were other influences of Black people in the Americas prior to Columbus's arrival. He noticed also that there were pieces of wood from ships that were in the Americas. And those pieces of wood, the trees were native to Africa. So in studying the ocean currents, he discovered further that Africans simply got on their boats. And if you, I preached a sermon last week for Black History Month at the Liberty Seventh-day Adventist Church in Baltimore last week. And I showed how in the days of King Solomon, the Africans had ships, and the Bible says that they were experts at seacraft. So van Sertima discovered that the Africans simply had to put up their sails and follow those currents. As adventurers, they went wherever the currents took them, and those currents took them to the Americas before Columbus arrived. And then they knew the moon cycles from their almanacs. They joined the current and it took them back to Africa. So there was trade between Africa, the west coast of Africa, and the Americas, hundreds of years before Columbus came, and they didn't use motorboats or outboard motors. They simply followed the currents and the moon cycles. So in Van Sertima's book, I'm adding to what I just read about Latin America. Africans came to the Americas before Columbus, and that's documented in his book. The last thing I want to say on that is that prior to Van Sertima's research, the Smithsonian had a Eurocentric description of human migration. After Van Sertima's research was checked out and found to be credible, the Smithsonian now has a diagram of human migration and information about human migration, which relies on Van Sertima's research. So a Guyanese academic changed the study of human migration and anthropology. And there are two others that I tell you about who changed their approaches to the academic material in their fields. So Van Sertima rewrote anthropological studies, and all anthropological studies are now grounded. The human migration studies are grounded in Van Sertima's work. Just wanted to share that with you as we go. Let's take another item on our planned program. The presentation, is the wheel ready? If not, we'll take the vocal performance.
Yes, the wheel is ready.
Go ahead.
Okay, everybody, let's get a drum roll. Are you ready to win? Are you ready to win? Your names are on the wheel. And if your name isn't here, let me know. But I think I got everybody. I am going to share my screen and we are going to spin that wheel for the first winner of our giveaway today. Here's the wheel, Look for your name. Tell me if your name is there. Tell me if your name is there. Tell me if it's missing so I can add it. All right, let's go. Drum roll. Let's see who our first winner is going to be tonight, this afternoon. Our winner is Pam. Pam is our first winner. So, woohoo! Hooray for Pam. Put your name in the chat. Message me directly. Send me your address so you can get your prize. All right, back to you, Mr.
Is it $2 puri?
Well, she'll see. She'll get it in the mail.
All right, Pam, make sure. Could we highlight Pam, Mr. Technician? Pam, do you mind speaking for a few seconds so we can highlight you? We want to identify you and congratulate you. Pam, start speaking so the technician can identify you, and then we will, so we can see your face, know who you are. This program is about bringing you to the forefront. Pam, say something, please. All right, seems as though we don't have Pam as yet. Okay.
If Pam is not responding, does she want to forfeit her prize? Pam, are you there? You have to be in it to win it.
Gotta be in it to win it, or else we're gonna spin again, Pam. Going once, going twice.
Okay, right. I think Pam has left the building. Let's get another spin. We're gonna spin again. We're gonna spin again. If Pam comes in, then we can consider. Let's. All right. Our winner is Raydon. Raydon, are you there? Raydon. Want to hear from you, Raydon?
We heard Raydon speak earlier.
Oh, you know I'm going to accept that prize.
All right.
Okay, let's highlight Raydon one more time so we can all see who he is. Boy, this program is better than I thought. I imagine we're gonna
show myself for a quick minute. Like I said, I'm driving, so yep.
I know. This is the kind of thing that there's Raydon. Hey buddy.
How's it going, man?
You're a winner.
Sounds good.
Blessings on you. Thank you so much, sir, and congratulations.
Right, thank you.
let's have our vocal performance, our first vocal performance. Madam President, who is presenting first? We might have to call on a volunteer. There's some good singers here. Who has been assigned for the first? All right. If our singer is not here, what we can do is get ready for our face painting segment. Our face painting segment. Let me do an appeal, by the way, while we're getting ready for face painting segment. You know, GUYMETRO has supported Davis Memorial Hospital for many years and has had several successful projects. I remember hearing Pastor Johnson, while he was alive, talk about Davis Memorial Hospital and request help. I would like for each of us on the program today to plan for a special gift, financial gift, to Davis Memorial Hospital through GUYMETRO. That means that whatever you put aside to help Guyana, and as you know, GUYMETRO is planning to set up this diabetic clinic. There's no better bedside nurse than Terrence, as well as if you're going to receive medical procedures, Terrence is the one to call. So let's, please, I'm asking each person here to consider to put aside a special offering. It must be $100 or more, I think, for the work that is going to be done at Davis Memorial Hospital, sponsored and managed by GUYMETRO. So let's think about how much we'll give. And when you speak, tell us what you plan to do in terms of your financial gift, and then connect with our president or one of the officers of GUYMETRO and get that offering into their account so that we can proceed and make this project viable and successful. I'm going to be making that appeal several times, so please be ready. Yonet, we go back to you for face painting. Tell us how you want to do that.
Okay, so how many of you who are online or on this meeting came to pick up food today? Because if you came to pick up food, you would have received a package with items that you will use for the face painting today. And I'm hardly seeing anybody I met this morning. Is anyone at home online who came this morning and got the face painting package? I see Nancy. Nancy is here. Nancy is one of our board members. It's nice to have you with us today, Nancy. I also see Marcel Jilts. She's also one of our board members and she's online. Ray Don is a board member as well. He's online with us. So it's Terrence. Terrence, I see Roycelyn. Roycelyn is also online. She's another board member. She's actually our secretary. And Marcel is our assistant secretary. So it seems like only Nancy has a package. Anybody else has a package for the face painting?
Yes, Allison.
Allison has a package as well.
Ooh.
Okay. So if you look in your package, you should have a pencil or a painting tool that you're going to use to paint your face. And when you're painting your face, I want you to think of something that you remember about Guyana and try to paint that impression on your face so that we can see it as we celebrate together. It may be marabunta, like we used to say. You know, I got stung by marabuntas a lot. So that would be one of my impressions. Or that black bumblebee that came out of the jamun tree and stung me when I wasn't looking. Yes, so if you have a package with a marker or a painting tool, I want you to take it out and you're going to start painting an impression on some side, some point of your face. You can paint a cat if you had cats that ate your meat, and I remember that a lot back home, or dogs or chickens that flew around and bothered you, or if you had a guinea tree. Look, we had so many mango trees in our yard. And when school was out, the boys would throw the stones into the mango tree to get the mangoes down. Paint your impression of what you remember. You have also some red lip gloss. You can put that on, the red that goes with the color of your flag. And whatever you have, you take this time and you're gonna paint the best description of your experience in Guyana as we celebrate Mashramani. And as you are painting, I'm going to put up our next bit of music. I want you to think of this music in regards to us not ever giving up on our dear country, Guyana, us remembering our country and donating so that the people in our motherland can benefit from the services we provided. So listen up. As we paint, here's your listening music. Let me introduce the two singers before I go. Most of you might know Patrick John and Grace Bob Semple. These are their kids singing this song.
You guys, this is one of my favorite songs ever. Hope you enjoy.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. Well, there's so much they hold.
And just like the moon stars, I see that you come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? But I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love, still looking up. And when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting, see what you find.
'Cause even the stars, they burn. Some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it.
No, I won't give up.
I don't wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make.
Our difference to do a lot to teach us how to use a toolkit. Yeah, we've got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we didn't intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I've got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love, still looking up, still looking up. I won't give up.
right. All right. Yes, that was Treasure and Aiden. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful song. And I know each of us would not give up on our country, Guyana, because Guyana needs us. And today we are celebrating our homeland and giving to our homeland so that our people can be strong. All right, let's go to our face painters. Let's see where they are. Allison and Nancy, are you ready to show? Oh, I see Neil. I see Neil. Neil is ready. Neil, tell us what you did. If we can pin Neil so we can see him better. Tell us what you did, what you're depicting, so we can share in your pleasure.
Okay, what I'm depicting is, I'm not a drawer by any means or a painter, but I remember when I used to live in Linden, Blueberry Hill. At the back of my house was we call the Fat Poke Bush. And I literally used to live there. Sometimes with my friends, we go to the Fat Poke Bush almost every day. And of course, we saw always seeing the salipenta and the snakes and the fat pokes. We had a lot of fat pokes. So this is what I'm trying to depict here.
Awesome, awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you for participating, Neil.
You're welcome.
Lady Nancy, you're up. Any of you, Lady Nancy or Allison? There is Allison. Allison, go ahead. Tell us what you painted. You're muted.
Yes, I used to live in Linden. I could remember I used to like to bathe in the rain, you know, run up and down the hill. And also a lot of times I was bitten with airy worms. Yes.
So I see the hairy worms there.
Yes. I used to like to bathe in the rain.
Wow, wow. Thank you for sharing that and thank you for participating. Yeah. Allison, you are from Linden, you said?
Yes, I'm from Linden.
And where are you now?
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. I hope to see more of you.
Okay.
All right, Lady Nancy, you're up.
Me?
Yes.
What am I supposed to do?
Tell us what you painted. What are you depicting?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
This is Awara?
Awara.
Do you see the Awara?
Yes.
I didn't put oil like some of them do in the border market when they competed for sales, but you know, they put the oil and say these are what they call them, sun ripened. These are for drop Awara. These are drop Awara, drop sweetest Awara.
All right, Nancy. Thank you so much for sharing that. We had some great depictions. If you're coming in late and you have your package that you can do your face painting with, please do so and share with us later. The people who participated in the face painting, you also have a pink package. I need you to use that and clean up your face, wash it off later. When we're finished, make sure you have a clean wash of your face so you get rid of that painting. Over to you, Mr. Host. And I see Pastor Steve Constantine has joined us, so we want to welcome you as you co-host with Lennox.
Hey, Steve. Glad to have you. I really enjoyed, first let me say that those two singers, Patrick John was an awesome singer. I remember him singing in quartets. But man, those two children are fantastic. And his daughter is so cool. I mean, she just sang. She never moved her head once, didn't adjust for notes, just sang the song. Boy, I tell you, that's a real blessing. We need to have them, we need to feature them more. Two awesome voices, and certainly walking in their dad's footsteps. I think their mom has some singing abilities too. I'm not sure if she sang in the USC choir, but I really enjoyed that. And you guys who painted, Desiree, Marcel, I didn't see your depiction. What did you paint on your face? Nothing?
Oh, I am in Pennsylvania, so I didn't get the package to paint.
Okay, good. All right, but welcome. We're glad to have you. So are you going to tell us? Are you going to tell us, Marcel, a joke, or you're going to recite a commercial that you heard in Guyana, or are you going to tell us about a special experience in Guyana?
I was thinking about doing something solo. So I have to wait for my turn. Solo.
You thinking of doing a solo?
Solo. L-O-W. Solo.
So low that we can't hear it? Okay. All right. That's a joke. We'll take that one.
Hi, Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Steve here. How you guys doing? Sorry, I'm not on video. It's been a crazy day for me. We're open at our free tax center in Oakland, California, and we're just overwhelmed with people showing up. So
yes,
that's the reason why you're just seeing that still picture of me.
Okay.
Still interacting with clients as they come and go. So wonderful program. I've had a chance to tune in intermittently, and you're doing a good job of representing both of us in the process. You guys were talking about old commercials. I want to share one for some of the old folk, and you gotta be over 60 years old probably to remember this commercial. I remember this from my childhood. And the funny story is, it's the commercial about a business called Auto Supply. For the old timers, it used to be right behind Parliament Building where the Linden Car Park area was. It was right in front of Auto Supply. And I walked into the new location a few years ago and I started to sing this jingle. And only one person in the entire building, which was an older gentleman, could look up and laugh. The young people thought I was out of my mind. The jingle went something like this. So please buy a pie for me from Auto Supply. Da, 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 da. So please buy a pie for me from Auto Supply. For those of you who are Americanized now, a pie actually was the brand name of I think a German-made radio. That was the days when they used to make radios with tubes rather than transistors. And the guy walked into Auto Supply ordering a pie radio. I don't know if anybody could remember that. Maybe I'm too old. Lennox?
I remember, Steve. I remember the pie radio, and I remember the commercial. So that was a welcome reminder. So thank you for that. Just a commercial. Steve is helping with taxes in his city, and it's a free service. So I just wanted you to know on this platform that if you have tax questions, tax time is coming up, write them down or email them to Steve, and both he and Patsy can answer for you. But they have been doing this pro bono humanitarian service for years, and they're experts. They are in direct contact with the IRS. So Steve, thank you for what you do for the community.
My wife is the expert. I'm just the help. I'm the elf in the background trying to help.
Yes, Steve
Speaking of
is
commercials. I'm going to give you another old one.
Yes.
Anybody remembers the commercial for Marvex? First of all, do you know what Marvex is?
It's Guyanese bleach.
Guyanese, there you go.
Bleach,
Give the lady a roti. There was a commercial that used to run that had an alliteration. It was an alliterative verse. Many, many Monday mornings, my mother Mary made something marvelous with Marvex.
Miss Mary,
Yep. So I don't know if anybody remembers. That's another old one from, like I said, I'm reaching back into the days of my childhood to remember some of this stuff.
Yes, and Steve, those are two great commercials. I remember them well. Now, one thing that I would like to request of you is a joke, a funny story. You don't have to do it right now. We can come back to you, but I would like you. You have a special way of telling jokes. You make my ribs hurt when you tell the jokes the way you tell them. So I'm requesting one from you. But let's go to Steve. Do you mind if we take someone else who I see? Yeah, I see Beverly Chance. Someone else has a story about Guyana, special event, special thing you had, special experience, a commercial or a joke.
Well, I could tell a memory. I don't know how funny. I don't think it's funny, but I'll tell it anyway. What I remember, of course, is the river, the Demerara River, as well as the creeks, Karakara, Katabuli, Kakatara, and swimming in the river, actually swimming across the Demerara River. You started at the Powell Crescent beach there, and you swam, intended to go directly across, but you ended up down Christianburg. So, but it was hard work because you walk back to, an area that would bring you back and then swam back. So that was, we did that as children. My mom wanted to make sure that we learned to swim because when I was a month old, my brother, who was 7, drowned in the Demerara River because he didn't know to swim. So we learned to swim very early. And I mean, there are all sorts of myths, Guyanese myths about Masakuruman in the river. My theory on Masakuruman is that it really would, people actually saw something, but I believe it was sloths, that swam and it looked like a human or somebody swimming. So I think that's how that originated. And walking from the Mackenzie area through Spikeland and other, just heading down to Karakara Creek was quite an adventure for us because Lucy, Alikak, and Sammy, our cousins, lived in Karakara. And it was such a thrilling experience because they would just run across the logs that crossed the waterways. And we were just terrified, but we went anyway. Those are very pleasant memories. I remember when to get across the Demerara River to go to church as children, with my mother particularly, we were not allowed to paddle because in those days there were no engines that attached to the boat. You had to paddle across, and when you were small, you had to sit in the middle. And as soon as you grew up a little bit and could handle a paddle, then you got to paddle, and that was something very, very, rewarding to be able to to paddle to get across, and it only cost a penny. Does anybody know what it costs now to cross the Demerara River? Please feel free to say what it is. I have no idea. But back then, when we paddled across the river, and the ships used to come up there, but we were paddling, and we had to know, well, the guy who was steering, he he knew how to avoid the dangers, but that was quite an adventure for us as children.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Mrs. Johnson. You, in that story, were you telling us that you swam across, what you swam across the river or the creek?
The river. We swam across the creeks. We swam across the river, the Demerara River.
You swam from the Linden side to the other side?
Yes, the Wisma side. Yeah.
Wow.
We did that, and I admired my mom's. I don't know that I could have lost a child and then make sure that all the other children could swim very well, that they could swim across the river. And she's on the shore watching us.
Wow.
So
that is some experience. Wow. It's no wonder you are the kind of person you are, because that builds character. And persistence, because you can't stop and turn back.
No, you're going across, so you got to get there.
Yeah, so even if your arms are tired and the feet are tired, you got to work.
You knew how to tread water, you know.
Yes.
You knew how to tread water and just keep going. But
Wow.
we were determined to do that.
Yes.
And
reading from the chat, reading from the chat, somebody says it's $80 now for the fare.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
As a child, it was literally a penny. You know, one of those big pennies?
Yes. Wow.
Lennox?
Yes, Steve.
Given the exchange rate, it's still a penny.
Oh, no.
Oh, my. Okay.
Is that inflation or deflation?
I don't know.
Exchange is exchange.
Yeah. Wow.
Exchange.
But Mrs. Johnson, that's a touching story, because we had water everywhere, and some of us, like me, didn't learn to swim until we went to camp. And if we did learn to swim before, it was at LaLaugh Pool. So that's Steve. Did you swim across the river near Bethany?
Well, Bethany is a creek, so
okay.
But I know of the swimming experience. I grew up where you had to learn to swim almost before you learned to walk, and it led to many fun Sundays. The neighborhood kids would meet in the creek, especially if it was high tide on Sunday morning, and we played a game of tag, but it was played in the water.
Right.
And we mimicked a particular water animal that was common in the area called a water dog. So we'd be there for hours, tagging each other, and you know, if you were a poor swimmer, you were it most of the time trying to catch somebody else. And you not only build character, you build some good muscles as well. You asked me about a joke, and now I probably need to go and take down the title Pastor before I tell this joke, because this is a joke, and Lennox, you know this joke because we were high school classmates, and you were there when I wrote this joke. And let me set it up by saying we had a beloved form master in fifth form by the name of Mr. Braffett. Some of you know him as Pastor Braffett. And Pastor Braffett had the style of coming in and doing devotions. And as he was about to leave the room, he would always drop a witty line. And once he had delivered the punchline, he proceeded to exit the room just laughing his head off. One morning he came in and he left us with this bit of wisdom. His quote was, "He that thinketh by the inch and speaketh by the yard must needs be hung by the foot. And made that funny line and walked out. About 10 minutes later, I came up with my own version of it. And some of you may or may not find it funny. I hope you don't find it obnoxious. And here's the line that I wrote. He that thinketh by the ounce and speaketh by the ton must needs be hung by the stone.
Oh.
Some of you don't even know that the stone is a measurement of weight. Yeah, those are old. Those are the days when you learn about pound, shillings, and pence, and about ounces and stones and tongues. Nowadays everything is metric, right?
Good weight.
And so on and so forth. So I don't even know what those weights translate to. But that was my response to Brass punchline.
Yep. Simply change you change the kind of image that he was using, and the boys in the class knew that the term stone also had a biological connotation, colloquially. So we found it extremely funny, and I think we laughed at that because the speed with which Steve came up with that response. So, you know, Braff was talking about inches and yards, and Steve, which is measurements of distance, and Steve came up with measurements of weight. So it was, I mean, to come up with that and to think that quickly and to make that parallel and that connection, we thought it was just outstanding. So Steve earned his right to be a part of the boys from that joke. We said that he is not really from Bethany, he's from Georgetown. We want him. And so we enjoyed that. All right.
Let's see what Sebastian has to say. Sebastian had his hand raised. Sebastian is from Pleasance, I think. So Sebastian, are you there? Put yourself in camera so we can see you. There you go.
It's such a pleasure to be a part of this meeting. I attended Pleasance Church, and I have lots of friends from Pleasance because I attended Cummins-Dodge Secondary School, where a lot of Pleasance students came from. And I have a joke. I heard this joke while I was in high school. It goes like this. This Rasta fella, he was waiting on the Pleasance bus park, and a police officer came up. It was very late the night, and the police officer came up and asked him what he was doing at the bus park. So he said, "I'm waiting on a bus eye." So the police just punched him and bust his eye. Then he said, "Left eye, left eye." Police punch him and bust his left eye. Then he said, "Jaw." Police punch him and break his jaw. Then he said, "Only jaw? Nose." Police punch him and break his nose. So the Rasta fella went home in a broken state.
Jaw break, eye break, nose break.
My boys find it very, very funny.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, let's look at Guyana, a little bit of history before we move forward. And I'd like to prep the wheel again. Let's do the wheel after this. Is someone trying to get in there? Let's look at the wheel after this little bit of history. And I don't know if Yonet is going to ask for newcomers to the face painting. Some people probably just got in and don't want to miss that. And then we can go back to some commercials. The first human inhabitants of Guyana probably entered the highlands, and Guyana is on, as you know, is on the high part, the northeastern part of the continent. On the eastern side of Guyana is Suriname, and then on the eastern side of Suriname is French Guiana. So they probably entered the highlands during the first millennium BC. Among the earliest settlers were groups of Arawaks, Caribs, and possibly Waru. The early communities practiced shifting agriculture supplemented by hunting. Explorer Christopher Columbus sighted the Guyana coast in 1498, and Spain subsequently claimed, but largely avoided the area between the Orinoco and Amazon deltas, a region long known as the Wild Coast. It was the Dutch who finally began European settlement, establishing trading posts upriver in about 1580. By the mid-17th century, the Dutch had begun importing slaves from West Africa to cultivate sugarcane. In the 18th century, the Dutch, joined by other Europeans, moved their estates downriver toward the fertile soils of the coastal mud. Lorenz Storm van Gravesande, governor of Essequibo, from 1742 to 1772, coordinated these developmental efforts. So Guyana had Dutch influence, and those of you who've, what are some of the Dutch names that we know commonly in Guyana? Help me.
Nikadak.
Nikadak,
Iflot, Bedefwaktin.
Iflot, Bedefwaktin, that's 3 anymore?
I believe Supanam, probably too.
Supanam. All right, don't know enough Dutch to be sure.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, of course.
Anything ending dam.
All right. What
in Brick Dam.
Yeah.
Parendam.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did anyone say Iflot?
Uti
flute.
Yeah, I know Uti flute.
Yeah. Any others? What?
My niece's last name is Waldijk. So
Yes.
anything ending dam and dike.
Okay. Yes. That's
And it's spelled Waldijk.
I
then
grew up
Soesdijk.
Soesdijk, yes. Yes.
Wickenham.
There you go.
Wickenham. Monkou.
What about Schultz?
Yes.
What about Schultz?
Schultz.
I got a family named Schultz, last name Schultz.
Yes. And I grew up in West Rumveld. Rumveld is Dutch.
Rumveld.
Rumveld. Yeah. West Rumveld. All right.
People wanted to stay away from the rum pretext of that name.
Yes, it's not a good prefix with which one should be associated.
Grew up that close to rum, that was not good.
After West Coast Demerara, I lived in East Rhineville, so watch yourself.
Okay, Radon. All right, good. Tyrell, what school is Blankenberg a Dutch word?
Blankenberg Congregational, yes.
All right, so
there was a village on the West Coast named Blankenberg.
Yep.
They knew it had to be a burg. They couldn't decide what to put, so they just went with blank.
Blank, yes. All right. Let's see if there are any more volunteers for face painting. If not, we can spin the wheel again. Yonet, please.
Yep. Any new takers? Did you? I'm in the room with Hugh Pastor Mackenzie, so we are having a feedback. Did you collect a package with the materials for your face painting and you didn't go in the first round? If you have, you can go ahead. We are painting a representation of something you remember from being in Guyana, like mosquitoes or marabuntes. Marabunts? Why do you say that?
Marabunta.
Marabunta, yes, marabunta. anything that you can remember that has a deliberate impression on your mind, paint that on your face. If you just got a package and you haven't showed your artistic skills and your connection to Guyana, do it right now. And in the meantime, as you do that, we're going to spin the wheel again and give out some prizes. So get ready. Let's get a drum roll, drum roll.
And Yonette, can you do 2, please?
Is my name in the wheel?
Oops, where's my wheel?
I'd like
Yes.
to. I'd like to show you something. This is what I remember from Guyana.
Who's talking right now?
A bungi. Bungi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody know what's a bungi?
Yes.
This one here is a fat pork.
When you forehead, when you get a big forehead, something big on your forehead.
You hit your head.
When you hit your forehead. I happened to have one when I was 4 years old running across the road trying to beat a motorcycle.
Wow. And you got the bungi?
I got a big bungi. I did get a blackout as well. But my ambulance was, the whole neighborhood came out to the standpipe. That was the ambulance.
Wow, wow.
And I was crying, so I was alive, and that's all. That's what the end
Well,
was.
no bungies today. No bungies today. We're going to spin it and see who wins. Ready? Let's. Our first winner was Ray Don. Let's see who wins the second time. This time it's Alwyn. Alwyn, are you there?
Yes.
Alwyn, yes.
Alwyn Parkinson is there.
All right. Can you unmute yourself, put on your camera, and let's see you. Tell us where you're calling from, where you're joining from, and where you grew up in Guyana, if you did.
All right. Alwyn is not responding yet. Yonette, you want to do
We're going to
another
spin
one?
the wheel again. Alwyn is part within. We're going to spill the wheel. You got to be in it.
You gotta add my name though, Yonette. My name's not in there.
Oh, it's not?
No, I sent you a chat. You didn't put my name in there yet.
Oh, Allison. Allison, I didn't see that. I'll add your name. Who's speaking to me though? I can't see you.
That's Linnell.
Linnell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check the chat. I sent you a direct message, like a half an
Sure,
hour.
sure. I will do that. Allison,
Sounds good.
message me your address and your full name so I can send you your prize. All right, back to you, my host, Lennox and Steve.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. How many of you remember what is the longest bus ride you took in Guyana? Bus ride or boat ride? Or car ride?
Or
train ride? Yes.
The
car, bus, boat, or train. What's the longest you were on one of those vehicles?
The longest boat ride for me was traveling from New Amsterdam to Baracara, where my father's from, by boat. And it took like 5 hours, it seemed like, to get up there. To travel those 40 miles, it took forever. Because the boat didn't go that fast. The launch, it went really slow. That was a long trip.
Okay.
New Amsterdam to Baracara.
New Amsterdam to Baracara. So how does one get to the Kanji River? You have to go up the Berbice River, and then there's a tributary that takes you across.
Yeah, Candy Creek is pretty long. Yeah, it goes from New Amsterdam to, I guess, the other side.
No, you don't go up the Berbice River.
Okay.
You cross the river.
Kanji is a river that empties into the Atlantic Ocean near to where the Berbice River. So you can go around the. If you leave the Stelling at New Amsterdam, you can ride in the boat around the edge of the land and go around to go into the Kanji River.
Okay.
The Kanji River runs under the Kanji Bridge, and you usually stop under the bridge to load up and get your final whatever not, and then you go up the Kanji River. There is the canal that joins the Berbice River and the Kanji River up by where the Barcara is. It's about 20 minutes further upriver. There is the, I can't remember what's the name of the canal now. I actually went through there to a funeral in Berbice River while I was there recently. Oh boy, what is it? I can't remember.
Yeah. Now, what is the distinction that Pastor Gittins, Horatius Gittins, likes to make between Baracara and Tacuba?
Tacuba is closer to New Amsterdam than Baracara is.
Okay.
They're about I don't know the distance, but it took us about 45 minutes to an hour after we passed Tacuba to get to Baracara. We got to Tacuba in about just a little about half an hour. A little bit over half an hour.
You were in a fast boat, weren't you? Pretty fast boat.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
We were in a speedboat.
Yeah, back in the 70s. Back in the 70s,
yes,
they had
totally different
10,
from
12,
when we used to go up there as kids.
15 horsepower boats. Took you forever to get to Baracara, man. And you're always bailing it out because there's water getting the boat. So anyway, it was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah. All right. Yes, Steve.
I want to tell you a little bit about my journey, and those of you who know a little bit of the geography might have an appreciation for this. This is 1967. I'm about 14 years old, and my big brother made the decision to relocate the family, my mom, my dad, and myself, from Bethany Mission. If you've been to Essequibo, nowadays you can actually take a speedboat from Parica to Supanam and be there in about 40 minutes. And from there, if you head up the Supanam River and then take another tributary and another tributary, you get to Bethany Mission. We left Bethany Mission about 1 a.m. He's moving us from Bethany to number 44 village on the Quarantine. This is a story of planes, trains, and automobiles. So we went from a small boat to the ferry, the Malali, which took us from Adventure to Parica. Then when you got to Parica, you got on board the train and rode the train to Breeden Hoop. And from Breeden Hoop, we got into a bus. The bus took us from Stabroek Market to Kingston, to the train station, the Berbice train station in Kingston. And then we rode all the way past BV, Dras, Mahaika, Maikoni, all the way to Rosignol, crossed the ferry at the Berbice River, and then got on another bus. All of this traveling nonstop from 1 a.m. in the morning. We never got to Quarantine until about 8:30, 9 o'clock the night.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
I mean, I didn't realize Guyana was that big.
Wow.
Cover all of that distance.
Wow.
These days you can
One
cover
question,
it in a much shorter space of time, but it was
Steve.
quite a journey. Yes.
Breeden Hoop wasn't the terminal on the west coast side of the river?
Across from the city, yeah.
Big market.
Yeah.
Big market.
The stelling is still there at Breeden Hoop. They don't have a ferry anymore. You have to go by boat, by those smaller.
Yes, because they have the bridge. The bridge.
Ferry, right, because of the bridge. But you still can. I did it for the fun of it. Get on board one of those small boats.
Yes, there are boats that still ply the cross.
Right. Just took that as a boat ride. Right.
Awesome.
The crossing of the Demerara River is a little more rough than if you cross it at Linden.
Awesome.
Yeah, we made those trips very often as kids.
But you could imagine
because
the transformation of
wherever we
cultural
were as
change,
children, when it was
right,
school
shifting
vacation,
from more rural to going to Quarantine Coast was becoming urban in terms of a lifestyle. I mean, where I grew up, you never saw a car or motorbike. You saw boats and engines. That's where I grew up.
Wow, wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
I see Marcel's adding to the modes of transportation. She added donkey cart, and Mrs. Liverpool added Tata bus.
Oh,
So
Tata
let's take
that's a modern bus. I'm talking about the days in Essequibo. If you're old enough, you knew who Coss was. Coss was the name of the Indian man that owned all of the market buses on the Essequibo coast.
Okay.
And if you're from Quarantine, then you know about buses like with romantic names like Sushila or Royal Princess and those country buses that carry the big old market thing on top of it.
Yeah. Tiran, you have your hand up still?
yes, I was thinking about sharing an experience when I was an indelible experience that I can never forget. When I was 6 years old, my father was the pastor on Essequibo Coast. And that time, that area that Steve just described was part of the district. He was actually having a crusade in that area. And he came out the Thursday evening, and I asked him if I could go back with him when he was going back, because they were going to have a concert. And he told me if I learned this poem, I would be able to, he would take me with him if I could repeat the poem. And that was my first introduction to learning poems. The poem was, He giveth more grace. He giveth more grace when the burdens grow greater. He sendeth more strength when the labors increase. To added affliction, he added his mercy. To multiply the trials, he multiplies peace. When we have exhausted our store of endurance, when our strength fails ere the day is half done, when we meet the end of our hoarded resources, our Father's forgiving is only begun. His love has no limit. His grace has no measure. His power no boundary known unto men. For out of his infinite riches in Jesus, he giveth and giveth and giveth again. And that was my first introduction to poems. I have fallen in love with poems. I've repeated and written some.
Awesome.
And I will never forget that experience, going up to Bethany on the boat.
Wow.
Awesome. All right,
What year was that, Theron?
That year, I was 6. That means it was 53. Okay. 1953.
53, okay.
It's a long time ago.
Awesome. Awesome.
It might have been on my birthday.
Yeah. In 53, as we will learn from our next our next piece of history, is the year the British suspended the Constitution. But Sister Irma is asking for a few minutes to tell her story, and then we'll go to the fashion show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fashion show coming up that you can't afford to miss. If you're getting sleepy, stand up and stretch, because you won't want to miss the fashion show that is you're about to witness. Go ahead, Sister Irma.
You're still muted, Mrs. Johnson. Unmute yourself. I still can't hear you.
She's navigating the technology. Give her a second.
Okay.
Sister Irma, you're still muted.
She'll get it. Got it.
Okay, you said I was going to say something.
Yeah, you said I have another. Oh, you have another appointment in a few minutes.
And
All
I
right.
was-
You want to say
I've
that?
been- Well, yeah, I'm expecting someone to come and at 4:30, which is the next few minutes. So I didn't want to just disappear. I thought I'd notify everyone, but it's really been such a pleasure to be a part of this. And I know that GUYMETRO accomplishes a lot, and pray for the continued success and blessing that it is and has been. And I just encourage everyone to support financially and with prayer and any other way that is possible. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you for being here, Sister Johnson. We appreciate you. We appreciate what Pastor Johnson has done for GUYMETRO, and we
Amen.
continue to hold you dear in our hearts. Expect a blessing from us this afternoon, and you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Blessings on you, Sister Irma.
Okay.
Hey, Lennox,
Yes, Steve.
I don't know, with Janet's permission, I based on recollection, I don't have my notes in front of me, but the last time GUYMETRO had an event, Janet had tasked me with the responsibility of commenting on Indian arrival in Guyana. And I know you did something earlier about some of our early ancestors coming in. And in tribute to my Indian ancestry, and when I speak of Indian here, I speak of those who journeyed from India to take up where slavery left off in the 1700s. It approximately about 750,000, sorry, of Indians took up the British on their offer to come to Guyana as indentured servants, slavery with term limits. Some of them signed 5-year contracts, others signed 10-year contracts. So you could imagine it was mostly men, and later on, some of them would bring their families, or women would come to find suitors in Guyana. So in all, about 750,000. Most of them stayed in Guyana, less than 10% repatriated, went back home to India at the end of their contract. One of the things that struck me about this group of people is that they mostly resided around the sugar estates. And even today, you still find large groups of Indian communities surrounding the sugar industry. One stat that blew my mind was this. They are still today families living on sugar estates as cane cutters, whose fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, or even great-great-grandfathers were all cane cutters. Unbelievable. A portion of that community never left the sugar plantation, never broke out anywhere else in Guyana society to move on or move up. They remain cane cutters from the time their forefathers came from India to Guyana until today. And the projection is their children and their grandchildren and great-grandchildren in the years to come would still be on the sugar plantation. I don't know how we change that paradigm, and how do we get people to move into some greater role in society beyond cutting cane. And those who do it probably do it nobly and honorably. But imagine your generation being stuck in that mold for almost eternity. Seems almost incomprehensible.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that, Steve. That was awesome. And I'm sure that the next time we do this, if we're invited to do it again, we'll have a more extensive, more dissertative explanation of how Indians arrived and where they live. I know that a lot of, when I was a teenager, a lot of rice farmers and cane cutters were sending their children to London to study dentistry and medical science. So today we have a large section of the Guyanese population who are medical, legal, and also professionals in other areas, because their parents use the monies from the farms to finance their education abroad. And a lot of it was in London. So we have the...
Let me make a comment to that, because it was a phenomenon for me, and even as a teenager, I took note of that reality. When I moved to Quarantine, I did live on the Quarantine Coast for 2 years, number 44 village, attended Wellington Park Primary School near Eversham, beyond Eversham, Cromarty area, for those of you who may know such places. But one of the things that I noted among the Indian community is that parents made decisions about their children's future. And they would choose a particular child who becomes the golden child. This is the child who would make it out of the family cycle of agrarian society. And he would, or she would, well, mostly he, would be sent to some of the best schools, beginning right there in the Quarantine, with the aim of making it, as you say, to London or to the United States or to Canada, to become doctors or lawyers. And those are people you get to see and know. What you do not see and know is the decision made by parents back in the local community, where one sibling becomes the child who stays at home and works his butt off, his fingers to the knob, with very little education, so that he could provide resources for that one brother to make it to med school.
Yes.
Every family had one child who paid that price for the success of a sibling. It was a phenomenon that even as a teenager blew my mind.
Yes, that is so true. And some of the wealthiest people in Guyana were of East Indian descent. You know, the Mazaralis, the Kissoons, famous lawyers, Ramphal, lLaugh. So, but the point you're making is a point that we who are just looking on the surface wouldn't know. One had to be acquainted with those communities as you were to make that observation that there was somebody back home who said, no, I won't go, I'll stay and work to make this happen. Because
and very often the child had very little to do with the decision. The parents decided who would be the golden child and who would have to be the slave that gets the job done.
And the parents' health were failing because they were probably getting older. So some sibling had to stay to hold the rice farm or the whatever industry they were in. And so I'm glad you made that point, Steve, because it is the sacrifice of that one that helped to propel the others to the success. So thank you for that awesome comment. Yonette is anxious to share the fashion show, and there's a member on our platform whose title is Yes. Is that an acronym? The person whose name is, or whose picture is labeled as Yes, Y-E-S. Is Yes an acronym? Would you say something? Yes?
I almost thought he was Steve.
Yeah, he's almost as handsome as Steve's. Close.
Leave that alone, Brigo.
Good night. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, yes.
No, it's not. My name is Derek Hawker.
Okay.
I'm not a pastor, but I am familiar with the 7 Days Church. My grandparents, my father used to go to the 7 Days Church in Sussex Street, off of Sussex Street. And then there was another couple of 7 Days churches that they used to attend, and I would go with them. But coming back to the point the previous brother was making about the Indians. As you can see, I do hail from Indian background, both African, Indian, Dutch, for a little bit of European. I'm a United Nations by itself.
Cook up rice.
Very well. Well cook up. My grandfather, who was Stanley Alder, used to tell me stories because he experienced slavery as a boy. And he used to tell me stories of the Indians and how they lived when they came on indentureship and got paid by the British under the indentureship. Not like what the blacks did. The blacks didn't get paid. The land and the cane field and the rice field was run by blacks before the Indians came. The blacks got comfortable and wanted to get out of that area because they felt that was beneath them. And some of them sell, some of them just leave the Indians to take over these rice field and cane field. The Indian brought their culture with them. And one of the things, I'm very familiar with India due to certain things that I do. They have a strong community where it comes to family. They did not experience what blacks experienced by the destruction. But the Indians were fortunate not to experience that kind of destruction. So they were able to maintain their culture and a stronger hold. And with that, they were able to have good money management that Black people never had or never took the time to educate themselves. They just spend and do things that they waste a lot of time. And that was and until now, it's still the same way because the Indians made that sacrifice to, one, go to school, or two, go to school, and four, stayed at home and do the rice field, take care of mommy and daddy. But in our Black community, that sacrifice was not founded. And that helped to destroy our community even unto today, because when you look around, as Pastor was saying, a lot of the wealth is in the Indian hands. Why? What it is that we, as a Black people, fail to understand the economic financial structure of how to manage. Why? What is the failure? Even now, as we look in Guyana, we're seeing it run. We see with Granger. I hope I'm not taking too long, but this is dear to my heart and very painful for me. I watched Granger lose the election because of stupidity. Yes, he was outmaneuvered by a strategy Burnham used on Jagan. And Jack Hill now took that same strategy and used it on Granger. Just to touch a little bit, I'm not going to delve in anymore, but this is painful for me. When I think of my country, I live in America. I left Guyana when I was young. I'm 65 years old, 65 years young. And what I see is positive and negative, but where are we going as a country? Right now, there's a meeting about the oil that is going to be utilized in Guyana. How much of Black people is involved? Our opposition is not involved. How can you be in opposition and not involved in what is going on right now at Marriott Hotel in Guyana, deciding the fate of what the oil companies and other countries coming all the way from Europe into Guyana?
But I can
So my
see
brothers
you.
and
I can see you really wanted this forum, and I'm glad we could give you a chance to share a little bit of your knowledge and experience. We want to get to the fashion show, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you. Yeah, I want to thank you for sharing and for being here. Thank you so much, sir. Now,
thanks for having me.
Yes, perhaps we need to have a political forum for our Guyanese people so that we can really speak into depth and be able to join in and benefit from the economic boom that's happening in our country, because a lot of us are ignorant. So we really thank you. Thank you. Keep in touch with us, fill out the survey, be in our directory so that we can connect with you and move our people forward.
What is your name, sir? Tell us your name again, please.
Derek Hawker. I know Janet, even though Janet forget me because of the beard. I know Janet, I know Michelle.
Yeah.
I know the samples.
Now, Derek, I have to say that a number of the questions that you asked in your statements, I would like to answer them from a historical perspective.
Yes,
and there were some, and not now, but I'm saying I would like an opportunity one day to answer them. And some of the conclusions you've reached, I'm not sure that I'm there yet, but we love you, Derek, and we're grateful for your ideas and your thoughts, and we look forward and respect you. I respect what you said. So thank you so much for sharing.
All right, all right.
Fashion show, Yonet. Let's see the fashion.
Okay, so Michelle MV Designs has been coming to Maryland for GUYMETRO Day for the last, I would say, 10 years. She travels to Maryland, all expenses paid by herself and her team, and she puts on a fashion show to make our experience exciting and enjoyable for the young at heart and the not so young at heart. Because if GUYMETRO doesn't have young people, then we are a dying breed. So we make sure we cover the spectrum. And Michelle, because of COVID, could not be here, and we are not having an in-person celebration. She has created an online celebration for us. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome my sister, Michelle Velasquez, as she presents her fashion show of MV Designs. Beautifully done. Wonderful, wonderful. What talent. And I want to
Yes.
let you know that all the purses are hand cut and sewed by Michelle herself. And a portion of all of these sales will go towards the GUYMETRO organization to help with the fight against diabetes. So I invite you to go ahead and make contact with them and put in your order so that we can support a worthy cause.
Yonette, that was outstanding. I mean, it was unbelievably good. And to see young people having a chance to do that kind of demonstration and to be involved in modest fashion and using accessories that were crafted by one of us. So it's, you know, there's so much there. This is probably this is an extremely good Zoom event. I like the variety. I like the thought that has gone into it. And we try to give each of you a chance to share and participate. We're getting down to the last few items in our Zoom event. Steve, what do you think about the fashion? You have daughters and granddaughters. In fact, I remember you mentioning that you have the granddaughters while somebody else had grandsons. What do you think about these young ladies and their involvement in fashion?
I think it's wonderful to show off the style and the local flavor of some, you know, some local designer who's taking her time, and this is probably her career that she's advancing here in terms of creating these designs and manufacturing these beautiful products. I hope more and more people turn out to support her craft, understanding it's part of a local community, and sometimes we tend to reach for you know, the brand name stuff out there and not give credit or support to our own artists. When they become world famous, that's when we finally, you know, want to carry the Louis Vuitton, whether it's real or fake. But let's support our own people.
Yeah, and Steve, these
quality products.
Yeah, and these purses are affordable. I saw $30. I saw as low as $25. You know, let's call Yonette or text her and order, because a part of the proceeds, as Derek was saying, this is a part of the proceeds comes back to us at GUYMETRO, and so that's fantastic. That is using our own talents to benefit ourselves.
Yes, most definitely.
Beverly, I haven't heard you say a word yet. What do you think? Beverly is a CEO of Davis Memorial Hospital and one of our illustrious servants. Speak on, my dear.
Hold it. Hold it. I'm really enjoying this. I think I like the energies. I like the creativity. I can feel it. I'm not saying much because when you're in the forest, you don't see the trees. So
Okay.
I'm heartened by hearing it from the outside. So I'm taking it all in.
Yes.
But it's great.
Lennox, I just wish Beverly could finish the story she started on Friday night. How do you go from faking a faint and ending up at Davis Memorial Hospital as a teenager in high school to being the CEO of the said institution? Now that's a transition that has a story to be told.
Yes, yes.
Well, maybe my neck was acting up and it stopped there, and probably that's where it should end. And I went to the hospital, ate the ice cream, and then I went back to school doing fine.
Yes,
all right.
Yes, but
That was quite a funny
it was a great journey. Right. The net robbed me the opportunity to say thanks to my teachers and my friends, and it was just a great experience. All right. I don't think my father did us an injustice when he insisted, even though he didn't have all the financial resources, he insisted that we go to that school. And that's where our speaking skills at that JMV on the Wednesday morning, that's where it grew. Okay. I went not only to the academy, but I went to the primary school, and I was taught by Waveney Martinborough, Frankie Walton, and Aubrey Hines. So I had the primary and also the secondary school. Well, it was great. It was wonderful. Thank you.
And what do you think about the idea of bringing the diabetic services that GUYMETRO is planning to do to Davis Memorial?
Well, you know what? You can't go wrong with that. You just can't go wrong because there is such a need. We did have a diabetic clinic before, but because of the lack of physicians being able to be assigned full-time to that service, because while she was there, she was Filipino, and while she was there looking at diabetics free, her clients were going other places. So we had to shift that arrangement. But it was a good clinic. It had great attendance. So you really can't go wrong. So the resources that are needed is just to support the human aspect that we can make it. But I think you just can't go wrong because
Amen.
it is enveloping the society. Diabetes is high, or diet, nutrition, and so on. So the way in which GUYMETRO is going to besiege and encompass this whole initiative is worthwhile, and we're just on the ground floor waiting to help them make it happen.
Oh, awesome. Well, Yonette, you heard it. You've got the CEO's assurance that she's willing to help. Yonette, I'm willing to suggest, and Steve, you can help me with explain this. I'm willing to suggest that we do another round. Probably we should do 3 or 4 this time on the wheel to get more people involved. We should also give the award to the person who had the best face painting. I'll give a little history, and then Steve and I can probably summarize and give our remarks before we get the vote of thanks and the closing prayer. I know Lillian Shepherd, we also are going to have Lillian Shepherd make the appeal, the vote of thanks by Marissa Alert, and then Radon's closing prayer. But before that, why don't we do another round of the wheel, the Wheel of Fortune? Yonette, do you mind? All right. While Yonette is getting the wheel ready, Steve, I think they put a lot of good thinking into this Zoom event. What say you, sir?
Yes, I like the way it's unfolded. I think it creates the vacuum now for more events of this nature that can bring the diaspora together. And it's a rather innovative way of doing things in the midst of the COVID restrictions that are keeping us from larger gatherings in person. And I think there's a spirit here that needs to be indulged. While Janet is getting together the names on the wheel for her final spins, I know Tyrone is the master of poetry, but as I listen to him, I remember my days in high school and a particular Guyanese publication that was a much treasured book. It's out of print now, and I've been trying to find one and can't find it, called Guyana Methody, put together by a gentleman from Guyana by the name of Wordsworth McAndrew. And Wordsworth tells a story of a former slave who had yearned for the days to become more like the British. And here he was, a free man, living way above his means. And here's the story. Mr. Garden was arrested and charged and brought before the judge for an assault. The judge decided to give him an opportunity to defend himself. And here was his speech to the judge, being accused of beating up a young lad. He says, "Your Honor, I had just awoken from my slumber and completed my mutatinous ablutions." I mean, he was very flowery with the language. He says, I was perusing books I had brought back from London, written by Wordsworth and Shakespeare and men of that caliber, when the young lad approached my wicket gate and shouted, Mr. Garden, I come for my beef money." My pet of the canine species attacked him ferociously, but the young lad kept shouting, Mr. Garden, I come for my beef money." He says, "Your Honor, I then took off my 2.5 pounder, put on my 10-pounder, and associated my shoemaker with his tailor, the force of which converted him into a human cow." He literally admitted to the judge that he had beaten the kid by kicking him with his heavy boots. His language was so fluent and so colorful. The judge moved for the dismissal of the case against Mr. Gordon. If you ever get to Guyana and you go to one of the libraries, you may find the Guyana Methody in a reserved section of the library. You could only use it as a resource material. But the story of Mr. Gordon and several other stories written by Wordsworth McAndrew are recorded in that book. I treasure that story in particular from my high school years.
Steve, thank you for that. Thank you so much for remembering it and for bringing it to our attention. Somehow I have faint memories of you using some of those terms in the classroom and in discussions. So I think that you have a flair for these Latinized expressions, but it was that's how we rolled in Guyana.
Yeah.
We were known for, we didn't have fancy cars to attract people, especially those of the opposite sex, but we had language and the gift of speech. So it was that
fun with it.
Yes, it was that kind of thing.
You were talking earlier about the amount of Dutch representations that we find in the names of places in Guyana.
Yes.
Not many people realize that the French also left its mark in Guyana.
Okay.
And there are French places that that you didn't realize are French.
Hmm.
You drive by the village on the East Coast called LBI.
Mm-hmm.
The full name is what? Le
Bon
Invention.
Yes, yes.
That's French.
Yes.
What's the name of the most famous cemetery in Georgetown?
Le Repentier.
Le Repentier.
Yes.
Do you know
yes.
how it got that name?
No.
It's reported that the first person to be buried in that cemetery was of French ancestry.
Okay.
And it was in honor of him that the cemetery was named La Repentier.
Uh-huh.
And there we still have it today.
Yes.
Prominent part of Georgetown.
Yes. And Nancy, who is from Linden, is also reminding us of La Penitence.
La Penitence, yeah. Also French.
Yes. Thank you for that, Steve. That's a useful addition to our program. Someone said, I didn't hear that one.
Vlissingen.
Vlissingen, yes. Vlissingen Road.
Vlissingen Road, yeah. The road
Yes.
that takes you to the cemetery.
Yes. James, I see you have your hand up.
I have a radio advertisement that some of you might remember regarding Torganel paint. Remember Torganel paint in Guyana?
Yes, yes.
Was George and his wife. Okay, so he came home and his wife said, "George, you don't listen to me when I talk to you." No, he said, "No, there." What? I mean, yes, there. Why you buy this foggy paint?
Let's do it together, John. Let's do it together. Go ahead.
George.
Yes, dear.
You don't listen to me when I talk to you, no?
No, dear. I mean, yes, dear.
Why you gonna buy this foggy paint?
What foggy paint you talking about? Wait, what do I say?
I said paint is paint.
Paint is paint.
Well, I heard you boys talking about power. I don't know it was so good. Good?
You just try carry back this paddly paint and get something. I can't remember.
Get Torganel.
Get Torganel. Because it's Torganel I want.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah, that's sweet. Thank you so much, James. Awesome.
I do one too.
Yes, of course.
Okay, here we go. Indie curry. I just finished eating about indie curry right here. See, that's what we had today, I guess. I think. So, remember they had a commercial says, this is gold. This is representative of the gold in Guyana. Okay. Machu curry tastes nice and dappery. Eat good. Thanks to indie curry and champion baking powder. And then it says the husband says, Bougie gal, this curry tastes good. Here, Bougie, he says, yeah.
Remember the dress you promised me?
Yes.
And she said, one dress, take money by two. And mutton curry tastes good and dappery eat nice. Thanks to indie curry and champion baking powder.
Y'all miss out the beginning. You miss out the beginning.
How it start?
Bougie gal, now you cook for dinner. Mutton curry with indie curry powder. Bougie gal, what roti you want? Daiquiri with champion baking powder. Dish them out and put them on the table. The food smell nice, me go eat more than me able. Mutton curry tastes nice, the daiquiri eat good. Thanks to Indie curry and champion baking powder. Darling, I'm too glad you enjoyed this food. But think you're giving the dress you promised me. One dress?
Yes.
You take money by two. The mutton curry tastes nice, the daiquiri eat good. Thanks to Indie curry and champion baking powder.
From Ricks and
I
Sari.
get that these people haven't left the country yet.
Awesome. I tell you, this is so good. All right, let me close. Let me give you our last installment on Guyana. Guyana changed hands with bewildering frequency during the French Revolution and the Napoleonic Wars, mostly between the British and the French from 1792 to 1815. During a brief French occupation, Longchamps, later called Georgetown, was established at the mouth of the Demerara River. The Dutch renamed it Stabroek and continued to develop it. The British took over in 1796 and remained in possession except for short intervals until 1814, when they purchased Demerara, Berbice, and Essequibo, which in 1831 were united as the colony of British Guyana. When the slave trade was abolished in 1807, there were about 100,000 slaves in Berbice, Demerara, and Essequibo. After full emancipation in 1838, Black freedmen established their own settlements along the coastal plain. The planters, however, imported labor, as was mentioned earlier, which was the most productive of which were indentured workers from India. Indentured workers or laborers who earned their freedom settled in the coastal villages near the estates, a process that became established in the late 19th century during a serious economic depression caused by competition with European sugar beet production. The importation of indentured laborers from India exemplifies the connection between Guyana's history and the British imperial history of other Anglophone countries in the Caribbean region. Settlement proceeded slowly, but gold was discovered in 1879, and a boom in the 1890s helped the colony. The Northwest District, an 8,000 square mile, 21,000 square kilometers area bordering on Venezuela that was organized in 1889, was the cause of a dispute in 1895 when the United States supported Venezuela's claim to that mineral and timber-rich territory. Venezuela received its claim on British Guyana in 1962, an issue that went to the United Nations for mediation in the early 1980s, but still has not been resolved in the early 21st century. The British inherited from the Dutch a complicated constitutional structure. Changes in 1891 led to the progressively greater powers being held by locally elected officials, but reforms in 1928 invested all power in the governor and the colonial office. In 1953, the year I was born, a new constitution with universal adult suffrage, a bicameral elected legislature, and a ministerial system was introduced. From 1953 to 1966, the political history of the colony was stormy. The first elected government was formed by the People's Progressive Party, PPP, and led by Chedi Jagan, who was clearly pro-communist. In October 1953, the British suspended the constitution and sent troops to Guyana. The constitution was restored in 1957, the year my wife was born. The PPP split along ethnic lines, Jagan leading a party of mainly Indo-Guyanese and Burnham leading a party of African descendants, the People's National Congress, or PNC. The elections of 1957 and 61 returned the PPP with working majorities. From 1961 to 64, severe rioting involving bloodshed between rival Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese groups and a long general strike led to the return of British troops. Eventually, we gained our independence on May 26, 1966. I was at the National Park as a teenager watching the flag raising ceremony with my mom's permission, mom and dad's permission. And then we are celebrating in the month of February the attainment of a status of being a republic, which was inaugurated on February 23 in 1970. Guyana is my native land. It is yours. May God bless Guyana.
Not a blade of grass.
Not one hurry. We're not giving it
Somebody
up.
wants to sing that for us? Not a blade of grass?
Not one grass.
Well, I think, Yolet, if you don't mind, what about if Hugh finds it and plays it for us? I think it's by the Trade Winds. So while Hugh is doing that, would you do your last spins on the wheel? Let's give out about 4 prizes. Let's see how many people can get a special prize.
All right, here we go, here we go. And I also want to hear from Beverly. I really appreciate that Beverly is online with us. Am I muted?
No, we can hear you.
People.
Yes, I'm very appreciated that Beverly is online with us, and we would like to hear a word from her before we close off this meeting. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Ready for your spin. Let's see who wins tonight. If you win, put your name and your address in the chat directly to me. I think Electra won before, didn't she?
I can't remember.
Yes, Electra won before. So let's try this again. So we had Electra and we had Radon. Let's see who wins this time. James. Is James on?
James, are you here? James, would you say a word so we can highlight you? Just start speaking if you're still here. All right. Let's do another, Yonet, please.
One more spin, one more spin. Let's go, let's go. Let's see if you're the winner tonight.
James just stepped away.
Okay.
Okay, so we have Terrence. Terrence is the third winner. James stepped away, so let's go one more time so we can have 4 for tonight. One more winner. One more winner. Uh-oh.
That's
Terrence.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
All right, so that's Steve. So we have our 4. Let's see if Steve is there. Or Steve Puppets.
Let to nearly make it, boy.
He's a host.
Almost.
Steve is that.
Okay,
Well,
Steve.
If it's next to Lennox, it's me. Hey, by the time the roti get here, gonna steal by.
No, I freeze it.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So we're gonna do that. Let's do. Thank you so much for that, Yonet. Let's give a prize to the winner. And Yonet, I don't know if you stepped away, but Beverly spoke a minute ago.
Oh, she did. Yes, I did. Yes. I'm trying to man two
Right, so
stations right now. We're
expenses
putting away the food and trying to get the Zoom going as well.
for the
Okay.
rental.
And
That was, by the way, that's the real one, Lennox.
yes, ma'am.
Things like 50% of
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to, first of all, congratulate Yonette and her team for a job well done.
Yes.
You know, the level of effort that went into putting this together is unbelievable.
Yes.
And it was smooth, well organized. I want to thank GUYMETRO for staying the course with the Davis Memorial Hospital.
Yes.
GUYMETRO has never, ever given up on us through thick and thin. You know, there were others who had the shifting sand for so many, probably no doubt, great reasons, but GUYMETRO remained consistent as the Northern Star. And I'm very thankful for you. I would implore others to continue doing what they were doing, to support their efforts with whatever they can, so that helping the hospital in the area of addressing that worldwide disease of diabetes will be well appreciated. It will be well supported. I trust that this venture will be, okay, one of the most successful one, and it deserves to be, because Yonette and her team has done a par excellent job. I enjoyed it. I was savoring the moment. It was great to hear from people who are outside, the reflections, their thoughts, the things they remember, but and I was having a blast of a laugh. So thank you. I think, Lennox, you were an excellent chair. Well, that's not surprising you. That's normal. And Steve, thank you for you always personally support me in everything. And I really, really feel very special that you ensure that I am not only invited, but I'm also included. Thank you so very much. God bless all of you. And Yonette, congratulations on your team again for a job well done. God bless you.
Yes, awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Beverly. I'd like to let you know, GUYMETRO and Yonette, I need your support on this. On the 5th of March, on the 5th of March, first Saturday in March, the president of the Guyana Conference will be addressing former students of the Academy, the alumni, GAA alumni and friends, and their friends from the diaspora. So Steve and I would like to request your help, Yonette, you and your staff, to get as many GUYMETRO members on the platform when the president addresses us to hear his plans for Christian education. Because I know that GUYMETRO is not only interested in the medical work in Guyana, but also in the educational work. So on the 5th of March at 5 p.m., the president of the Guyana Conference, President Exton Clark, will be addressing us, and either Steve or I will send you the flyer promoting that event. So if we could, I'd like for Terence and Yonette and all the rest of the GUYMETRO leaders to get as many GUYMETRO members on that program so that we can give many ears to our president and his vision for education in Guyana, and probably rebuilding of the academy and reconstructing a new building. So I would send you the invitation. Steve, is there any? There are a few points.
Yes, since we're plugging events.
Yes, sir.
This weekend, we are celebrating musical heritage of the Saska group, mainly the Saska choirs of Georgetown and of Linden. And we would like, I'll send the link to Yonette and to Terence if they could circulate it within the GUYMETRO community to come out and support us as well. Some of the people within GUYMETRO are probably members of that group as well, and we want them to get the information however they can. And we invite folk from the entire diaspora to come and join us. It's an event of local talent, and as we recount the history and thank those who contributed to the musical heritage of our dearly beloved Guyana.
Thank you for that, Steve.
Chair, just before you go, Mr. Chair, I just want to make a shout out to Terrence, right? You know, Terrence has a passion for the work in Guyana that's very, very infectious. Hi, Terrence. Thank you so much for dropping by and starting this conversation in the area of health education for diabetic. Thank you. Couldn't miss you, Terrence. God bless.
Awesome, awesome. All right. In the chat, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Beverly. In the chat, Linnell is asking, Linnell Hines is asking if James attended GAA during 1973 and 75. James, you're old, as the New Testament story says, he's old enough to answer for himself.
I went to the primary school from its inception. I did not go. My brother went to GA with John.
Right. So
John's your brother. Okay, I remember John from the academy. Okay, is he younger than you?
He went to the academy and he went to the primary school. I don't remember if you remember. Brother Bowen was the first headmaster.
Yeah, I was there from.
He was from Barbados.
Right. I was at the academy from 70 to 76. So yeah, I was there. But this John's your brother then. Okay.
Yeah, he's my brother.
It was you. Got it. John and James. Got it.
Yeah,
thanks, man. Thanks.
John
Sammy is your brother?
John works at the conference.
Yeah, Sammy's my brother too.
Oh, I'm gonna tell Sammy tomorrow I saw you. Yeah.
Thanks for responding, James. Appreciate that.
My little sweetheart. He is my little sweetheart.
Nice.
Oh,
And they had teachers like Sister Mabel Hunter, Pastor Hunter's wife. She was a teacher. Sister Blakely was the she used to beat like crazy.
That's Maxie's mother. Yeah.
Maxie.
Yeah, Maxie.
She used to walk with a cane all day in school.
Hey, that's my auntie.
She's telling you. We got some good licks from Sister Blakely.
Well, guys, let's continue this conversation after we close off.
Yes.
Marcel, our assistant secretary.
You had to be a bad.
One question, Yonette.
Yes.
Helen Stanley is asking, how can we become members of GUYMETRO?
Right. I saw that in the text. I responded. Visit GUYMETRO.org. And you should be able to join through us. We are sending out surveys to invite people to come and join. So we put together a directory with all the information of Guyanese. If you're local or international, we want you all to participate. And so we get to know who you are, what you do, and connect and support each other as we collaborate for the good of mankind and for our Guyanese men and women.
Awesome. Who won who do you think won the best face decoration, Yonette?
I don't remember his name. I'd say the guy that went first. Neil Liverpool.
That's me.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Can we highlight Neil one time and give him a hand? Neil was the did a good job. There he is. Awesome job, Neil.
Thank you.
All right. Lillian Shepherd was going to give an appeal. Lillian Shepherd.
So we are like way over an hour over our time, and some of our people have been here getting the food out to the community. So they have left and traveled. They're en route to their homes. So she's not available at this time to do the appeal. But so far on the ground, we have raised over $2,500 and we have done orders online. We are looking to raise $10,000 for this fundraiser. So please, if you have not yet donated to this cause, please go online at www.guymetro.org and donate to this worthy cause.
Awesome.
We also want to finish up by inviting Marcel, our assistant secretary, to come and give the vote of thanks. after our host, Lennox and Steve, give their final pieces.
I want to thank you, Yonette, and also all the staff, your entire administration, which I'm sure includes Terrence. You guys have really thought this through, and as Beverly said, I can imagine the amount of work it took to make this happen. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of the hosting team. And I wish you guys all the best. I'm going to send you my request. I hope that I can get some dal puri and chana, hard chana, and some, whatever you have. But we'll talk right after this session.
Okay.
And get my request. For Pam and I, we our mouths are we dribble in. And I hope there's overnight mail. We don't mind paying for overnight mail through the post office or UPS, however you want to send it. But we're willing to pay for overnight mail as well. So let's do that. But this program was fantastic, Yonette. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. It was an awesome event. Thank you very much. And thank you all for attending and cooperating. I had real fun. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Stephen?
Somebody said hard chana need good, strong teeth. So be careful what you ask for.
All right. I'll get my dentures by the time it gets here. All right. If Steve is not there, you can go ahead, Yonette, with the vote of thanks and closing prayer.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We're excited that we were able to pull this off. You know, we've been planning meticulously for some time. And everyone on our board contributed in many, many ways. So if I start calling names, I'm definitely going to leave some out. So first I want to thank, and I'm going to address you properly, Dr. Yonette Sempodharma. We want to thank you for taking charge in leading us in this direction. And I know that you will individually thank us, including me. But Brother Abigail and Brother Constantine, you have made what we have worked hard for a success in the way you laid out in your dialogues, in your information that you provided all about Guyana. Some of us are aware of all this stuff, but for those of us who left Guyana a long time ago, we don't know that information. So we're grateful and we want to thank you. We want to thank everyone who bought, whether you bought mitai alone, you bought pepper pot, you bought the whole side orders. We want to thank you for contributing. At this time, we're working with dental health and diabetes. I visited Guyana recently, and one of the things I saw was a lot of mad people running around the place. And just maybe, GUYMETRO, we could start addressing mental health because it's real. I spoke to someone at the conference with regards to diabetes, Sister Chan. I didn't know you were up there. I would have come up there to you as well on behalf of GUYMETRO. But all in all, we want to say thank you guys. Thank you very much for your contributions. We will continue to do our best, and we continue to ask you to support us in this endeavor. Thank you very much. Everyone, even our Zoomers, everyone.
Awesome. Just one question, Yonette. Does GUYMETRO have a Zelle account? All right.
We do have an account. You could talk with someone for that after, but we do have an account.
Yeah, because that's the fastest way for people to get funds to you guys.
Right. I'm not sure it's Zelle or otherwise, but we do have an account.
Okay, good. Awesome.
It was at Zelle too, yeah.
Okay, so someone is selected for the closing prayer?
Ray Don, I think.
Okay.
Yes, good afternoon again. Yeah, I just put in the chat, Treasurer Lillian can get you the information on how to contribute Zelle or otherwise, so.
Awesome.
Contact her. All right, let's bow our heads. Great program, thanks again, everyone. Let's bow our heads. Dear God, we come to thee, thanking thee again for this day, thanking thee for this time. For this great fundraiser. We thank you for the success that we've had so far. We know that we still have many to count, and we hope that we'll reach our goal. We thank you for the participants. We thank you for everyone that's contributed. Thank you for our Brother Abigail and the other gentleman I forgot, but thank you for their contribution and just making this just an awesome program. The information that was provided was excellent. The show, fashion show, the dance, singing, everything, and even the prizes. So we thank you for everything. We hope that even throughout all this greatness, that the program will go forward and benefit those in Guyana. As we know, we need many help there. And as we heard at the end, additionally, maybe focusing on mental health for the future. But we thank you for just being with us and helping us to have some part in helping others in our country and in Guyana, which we love. Thank you again. May we all have a wonderful evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Awesome job.
Amen.
We're gonna ask our engineer to play some Guyanese music, some Guyanese, what? Is he going to play Not a Blade of Grass by the Trade Winds?
He's pulling it up.
All right, good. I was enjoying the earlier interlude with those folk songs.
We are a peaceful people, struggling, we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. No, we ain't giving up no mountain, and we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belong to we. Not the one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. This land is our land now. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we are moving from here. Make no mistake. No, we ain't giving up no mountain, and we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belong to we. Sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupanuni and the Essequibo, daytime or night. Though we criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we mean to keep it. We have that right. No, we ain't giving up no mountain, and we ain't giving up no tree, we ain't giving up no river that belong to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one chorus, not a blade of grass, not Not one golden apple, not one jamoon, not a drop of water from
the pan. I'm coming now. We finishing up. Everything is finished?
Yeah.
Beautiful job, you guys. Beautiful job. I just came back from Guyana a couple of weeks ago, and I want to say to those of you who have not been to Guyana a while, you need to go and see what's happening in your country. And if you've got resources, I encourage you to invest in real estate in Guyana. Own a piece of land, put up a building, rent it, whatever you do with it. Guyana is going somewhere, and you need to get your piece of the pie.